So what do you kind of just record this pretty much and then?
What's that?
So you just basically recording it then, and replaying it, or
I think if we still able to go live through LinkedIn and YouTube, and we'll probably just throw it up on Facebook as a replay.
okay, cool.
Get on the technology.
My wife laughing because literally every time when the first guest,
I know. I was watching some other. What's her name?
Tanya.
Yes.
Yep, same thing. They worked everything out, and then when I got there, they
YouTube. We're live, right? We're live. You said it doesn't? So it's LinkedIn? That's fine. Yeah, last time it worked, though. So. Okay.
Join us for the hottest new live video podcast, Empower716 with Coach Robert Lowry, a show for entrepreneurs, business owners, side hustlers, plus career shifters committed to growing their business and life. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn every Monday at 5 p.m. Featuring successful entrepreneurs and diverse business owners from Western New York, such as Dennis Wilson Jr., Tony Du Bois Kroom, Makai Gibbs, Lysandra Butler, Devontae Davis, Nakia Marie, Karan Briggs, Janice McKinney, Derek Parson, Sheila L. Brown, Jayla Ivy, Paul Villani, Raquel Hall, Valentino Shine Jr. For more information, go to www.empower716.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to Empower716. I am your host, Robert Lowry, and this is a show for entrepreneurs, business owners, as well as side hustlers and career shifters in Western New York. And I am so grateful to have started this show. And I want to just give some context of why this show was started. And I had a vision about a couple months ago and realizing how important it is, and probably over the last 20 years of my professional experiences, of how important it is to connect, to network with other people, especially those of color, and making sure that network and connection is strong, and it's a key to any successful person if you look at their foundation. And so I wanted to provide a space, a platform where entrepreneurs and business owners can learn from each other, grow with each other. And so that's just the premise of the show. So I want to just give a quick breakdown of what we're going to do today in the next 45 minutes. We are going to, on the show, is bring successful entrepreneurs and business owners to come on the show to really share their journey to entrepreneurial experience and their journeys, and as well as what advice they would give to others and how to grow. And so I am so happy. I am so happy to have a successful business owner, a humble business owner. His name goes by, or he goes by the name of Dennis Wilson Jr. And if you don't know, you got to be living under a rock because this man is all over the place. And so I appreciate not only you being a guest, but being the first guest, because this is history, because I believe and seeing beyond just where I'm at. And so it was important to bring people that look like me on the show and showcase them. And it just happened that, when I reached out to you looked at your schedule and you happened to be the first one. And so I appreciate you wanting to come on the show. And so we're gonna jump right into this. And so the first question I have for you is, who is Dennis Wilson Jr.?
So Dennis Wilson Jr. is a husband, a son, a father, a brother, a family man, a great friend. Just my thing for me, and it's something that I try to live by. I just try to be a good person.
Yeah.
And so that's me in a nutshell, just trying to be a good person.
Okay. So I had a chance to just do some research on you. And as I said when we started talking, is I've learned so much about you. And some things I'm like, okay, so he's a full-time teacher for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 2 certifications, and I think it's history and graphic design.
Yes.
So tell me how that all came about.
So it's funny how we even landed in teaching. I was at Canisius College. I played,
Okay.
and I went to Canisius undergrad, played basketball, graduated, and I was working security. And I'm like, this is not what you graduate from school and you work in security, like this ain't gonna work. So I called the school like, yo, I want to go to grad school, and they was like, all right, you can go business or you can go education. So I'm like, I want to own my own business. We was doing music and stuff. So I went to this bookstore, started looking at the books for business. They was a little high. So I'm like, you know what? I looked at the education books and they was a lot cheaper. So like, you know what? I had a history professor. I'm gonna go with history, and that's kind of how I started getting into education. And 23 years later, this is where we at. This is how it kind of ended up. And so I can't really complain about the whole journey.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So just give me some insight about Mr. D. Wilson Limited Corp. Just give me some insight what it's all about.
So basically, I started Mr. D. Wilson as more of a promotion arm, and
Okay.
I'm a graphic designer too. So I've been doing graphics for 25 years.
Good graphics.
Thank you. So I can't remember what year, probably early 2000s, I created a website called MrDWilson.com. And basically, I would go to the events and I would take pictures.
Yeah.
take pictures of the events and so on and so forth. And that Monday, I'll put the pictures all up on the site. So between people going to see who was at these various events, and I was doing a lot of the event flyers, so I would put a calendar on my website so people could see what's going on Friday, Saturday, every week. Wow. And so that kind of created attraction for me. And then, it's just kind of branched off from there. And then 2009 was really my first big year of doing events. I did events before. I've been doing events probably since 99. But 2009 was the year it went, crazy, I guess you would want to say. And so I just took all the lessons I learned from doing people with graphics and being in the back room in those nightclubs. And, you get all that information. And so when it was time for me to implement it, I was able to make some changes and do the things that I wanted to do. My big thing was atmosphere. I'm not a crazy person, so I'm not a wild, rah-rah, like I'm not fighting and doing all the extra crazy stuff. I like the smooth atmosphere, I want the fellas to talk to the ladies talk to the fellas, and vice versa, whatever, what I mean? Nice I just want a good environment and want people to dress up, dress nice, and then I created the vibe, and then just kind of kept growing that vibe, and so that pretty much everything I do, it comes back to that, just those events and pictures and imagery.
Now let me ask you this: so, what moment, or I don't know if it was planned out, like you were planning events. When did you know, like this is making me money? Now I gotta like strategize on this. Like when was that like turning point?
So I do two signature events: the White Party and the Black Party. White Party is Miami Nights. Black Party is presidential. So I remember it was about year 5 of the White Party, Miami Nights. We was moving to Templeton Landing, and we went from 400 to 700 people. And I remember, after everything was over, because that was like my summer money, and everything was over, and I had a couple of hours left, and I'm like, okay, wow, okay. And then the next year, I think the 6th year, it went from 700 to 1,200 people, and that's where we got. I think it was 6th or 7th year. We got, we had to. We grew out of Templeton Landing, which was crazy, you know what I mean? And it was just like, wow. Like, and I remember after the event, it was a headache because it was just, it was so chaotic, and people don't understand as you grow those events, scale those events, it's a lot of issues that go along with it. And so after the event was over and dealt with all the issues, and I got a chance to sit back, and me and my daughter, we went to LA or whatever. And I looked at my account and I'm like, wow, like, dang, like I couldn't foresee it, you know what I mean? And then to see it, I'm like, wow. So then I was ready for the next year. Like, okay, now, I got to wait 11 months to do this again, because, and so you just want to kind of keep working. And so I had those visions. I seen the Hassans, I seen the Trues, I seen some of the other people. Hassan that I knew personally, obviously Hassan was a good friend of mine, and I seen him do well. So I had somebody to look to for those events, but I didn't think I can get there. Wow. You know what I mean? I mean, once I did get there, it was like, wow, like, you see it in other cities, you just don't know you can do it here. And now I think that's the change what you see in Buffalo, where now, it's a lot of guys doing some amazing things nationally, throughout the world, and you be like, wow, they from Buffalo. You know what I mean? So now you think you can do it.
Now, do you think, I used to have this notion probably about 10 years ago. I used to travel a lot for work. And once I left Buffalo, like, it was just like, I don't know if the dark cloud just kind of left, and I would go to cities like Atlanta and what is it, Florida, Tampa, major cities. And I would get motivated. I would see people look like me moving and shaking and so forth. Do you think that has changed, the atmosphere has changed in Buffalo?
The atmosphere has changed, but I guess to me, it's always what you made it. Yeah. Like, because, a lot of people seen the black cloud, but I just never saw that. You know what I mean? What I loved about being home, and I would go, travel and do things, but I'm not one of those people who just talk to anybody. Yeah. So for me, it's hard for me to meet new people because I'm not just one of those people just randomly talk to people. Wow. So I like when I'm home and I go out to wherever and I run into people I know. So, what I mean? I like that. You know what I mean? So I like being around people I know and, people, you went to high school with or, just people you share experiences with. When you go to different cities, you see somebody but it might be one person, you know what I mean? And so it's like, to me, sometimes it felt like you was on an island. And I know you got to build up your own thing if you move out of town, but I don't know. I just love the love that you get from home when you do well. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So let's talk about You, I think 2 years, or you're probably a year and a half into your magazine. Explain what your magazine is and kind of your vision behind that.
So the magazine was created, excuse me, to spotlight individuals, urban middle class professionals, in their trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
And not so much how they overcame everything. Everybody has a story, you know what I mean? And every successful person had to overcome some type of hurdles. What I noticed with a lot of students and kids, they don't think nobody went through what they went through.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to show in the magazine, what me and my wife wanted to show in the magazine is that whatever you're going through, somebody probably already went through it.
Yeah.
And, you can look at their story and get inspiration. Also, I want people to realize like that there's people right around you in your circle that doing some amazing stuff and you just don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't, and the last thing, the biggest thing was when you understand somebody's story, you treat them differently.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing. I just felt like, a lot of times, people are just so mean at times and they don't understand what people are going through. And if you understand what somebody went through, you look at them totally different. And it's a whole different respect level. And so that's what we wanted to capture in the magazine. And I felt like so far we have been doing that.
As I explained, like before we started the show, is I knew about your magazine from a distance. And like, obviously we're Facebook friends and I would see something, like, oh, that's dope. But never really a chance, like I didn't know when it came out and everything else. So I had a chance to go through all the magazines and I was just like, wow, people I didn't even know of or people that I knew of but didn't know their stories. It was just, it's a dope feeling when you see yourself in those images. And sometimes we are often either overlooked, you don't get to, the narrative sometimes when you look at the media is that it's all gun violence and negativity. And so when you see that we are more than that and you see the different diversities in professionals, whether you're a bar owner, whether you are a teacher, so forth, the different professions, it just makes your opportunity like, wow, this is possible for people that look like me. And so I commend you on just bringing that. And what I talked to you about when we started was that your magazine it pulls other people together. But then I seen a chance to advertise in there. I was like, oh, that's dope because it's like you're bringing in other people to then uplift and promote their business. So kind of give me, as we go into our next segment, which is going to be talking about money, but give me some insight whether that was a strategy or is it a strategy that you utilize to not only just lift up your events, your bar and your graphic designs, but is there a strategy behind how you connect other people and making sure that network is there?
Absolutely. So part of the magazine and where I really wanted to focus on was obviously the design.
Yeah.
I wanted that elegant design.
That look is dope, man.
You know what I mean? So I wanted something where it looked like it's standard. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like as a culture, we accept less too much. You know what I mean? And when I'm a graphic designer, so I love pictures. And so sometimes people send me stuff and they want me to make magic out of it. And I'm just like, no, go do a photo shoot. Go make your imagery. What do you want to portray? And a lot of times we just sloppy with it and we don't put the time into it or somebody don't tell us to. And so I wanted to create an opportunity for people to showcase their businesses. A lot of times we put ads into places or we put an ad on the radio and we expect sales. And it's not so much sales all the time. Sometimes it's just imagery and creating a base for your your business. I remember Steve O told me we used to do events around the same time, and he still do them too. So, and he would advertise on BOK, and I'm like, well, why would you advertise on BOK? Because you can't get that many people in these events. He was like, that way people in Erie hear my name. That I forgot Toronto at that time. Can hear your name, and I'm like, wow, like. You branding. So now for a year and a half, 2 years before the pandemic, you heard my name every week on WBOK with the happy hour with Yasmin Young. Every week, D. Wilson, every week. And people don't even know your face, but they know your name.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so it's definitely a strategy to it. And definitely, to me, the magazine creates opportunity. A lot of people just don't even have marketing materials.
Yeah.
That advertising plagues our businesses.
Absolutely.
We don't do a great job of advertising our businesses and marketing our businesses. like I said, we equate advertising with sales, and sometimes it's just not sales. It's more or less just imagery and, creating a base and making sure people awareness, just creating awareness sometimes. You know what I mean? People, like you said, I didn't know. You know what I mean? So how did you know? You got to, keep creating,
pushing
keep
out there,
creating.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We Facebook friends, we friends, but you don't know everything I do. So I got to keep
Pushing it.
Yeah, keep pushing it. And eventually you'll, as long as I'm consistent with it.
Yeah. Now, we talked about like, so I think we're gonna go into our next segment because this is really good because I think it leads into what you're just talking about is the money factor. Now, I'm gonna read this statement that I looked at is that research shows that 80% of businesses fail because of poor cash flow. So, with you being a teacher, owner of Mr. D. Wilson Limited Corp., Oak Groom, graphic design, all the other stuff. How do what's your method to avoid cash flow problems?
So for me, and the first thing was having great mentors. You need to be around other people who understand things that you don't understand.
Yeah.
So my partner in the Oak Room was Curtis. Curtis a banker. He understands money. So some of the mistakes, obviously we was rookies in the restaurant business, but we were able to avoid some financial mistakes because of his experience being in that atmosphere. So me partnering with him somewhere in an area that I'm weak, he was strong. So it's like being around, those type of people. Sometimes we worry about spending money on accounting, but the accountant in the long run saves you money.
Yeah.
Saves you time. Having your stuff in order. If you had your stuff in order when it was time for PPPs and all these different things that the government was, helping the businesses out, if you didn't have your paperwork in order, so it's just having that knowledge base, having people you can turn to. What I notice is if you're doing good work, you can call just about anybody in business and they'll help you.
Yeah.
Because they want to help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're doing some crazy stuff, they don't want to help you. You know what I mean? They don't want to be involved with you. So that was kind of the biggest thing, just being around people or seeking information.
Now, a lot of times, I always when we say the word money, I mean, I still think sometimes it's a taboo in our community when we talk about money, especially when you get into business of saying, I want to make money. And now you're a bad guy because you say that. Like, you just out there. Now, obviously, there's more to it. Now, teaching, a lot of, I learned very late in life about financial literacy.
Me too.
And if I knew what I knew back then, like, I'd probably be a lot, further in life. But one of the things, like, I'm just trying to look at different streams of, increasing your streams of income and things of that nature. Do you think, the question I want to ask you is, do you think, as far as money-wise, and do you think it's critical that you have financial management skills and so forth and understanding in your personal life to impact your business life?
Yes, I think a lot of it is just awareness.
Yeah.
And be willing to sacrifice. What I think a lot of financial problems come with the people is not willing to sacrifice certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So obviously if you make $50,000, you need to live like you make $30,000. You know what I mean? That's part of a sacrifice. You know what I mean? Sacrificing not going to an event, not buying clothes, sometimes hair and nails, makeup. I talk about my daughter with this a lot, So sometimes it's just a sacrifice, the sacrifice piece. One of the things about saving is sacrifice. We don't like to sacrifice, so that's the reason why we don't save. You know what I mean? So once you start creating those better habits, then, and then part of those better habits is people telling you. So you understanding, like I know now I invest in the stock market, but when I was in my early 20s, I didn't know nothing about the stock. I knew about the stock market, but I didn't know how to invest. I didn't have anybody around me that was investing. So now that I'm in investing, I'll talk to my daughter about investing. You know what I mean? So you need those. And to me, that's why I created the magazines. It's just back to creating, like stories, man, so people can understand, man. Creating scenarios, like, situations, like what's my plan, like my strategy for financial investment. I'm a long-term investor, so I invest for retirement. I'm a teacher, so I got a pension, so I want to aid my pension. So Every 2 weeks when I get paid, I buy a stock or two, one or two. Not a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time you get paid, you go back to the restaurant, you go to eat, you go do whatever. So me, if I can go blow that, I can go put something. And so every 2 weeks, just buy something. And then
Now, let me ask you this. Did you go through a phase? Now, for me personally, I went through a phase that when I got to a point where I was like, okay, things aren't moving for me. And so the first thing a person does when they don't have much, which was, me in my case, is you go out and buy the big stuff and you go out and try to be the man and you get the, nice suits and everything else. And now you're buying stuff just to show you have money. And then there was this inner thing going on with me is saying that, no, you got to like save, you got to grow, you got to invest and things of that nature. And so I was reading this article, and this is a study probably maybe 5 years ago. It says by 2053, the wealth of African Americans and actually people of color will be 0%. So pretty much, we're pretty much going downward as far as wealth. And so the mindset of us is, I won't say us, but the mindset of so many people is to look rich. And not really have those deep conversations about financial literacy, how to save because we want it now. And because, years from, if I ain't have it for years, I was growing up, I didn't have much. And now I finally get to the point, why can't I just go out and buy that new Lamborghini, or why can't I go out and buy that? So was there a shift in your mindset as far as money?
I can't say really a shift. I think for me, it's just been a natural progression. Like the biggest thing that happened to me was I got married.
Yeah.
So when you add another income to your house, it just, so now you working as two as opposed to one, and we were on the same page with everything. So that already automatically helped. I just think too, like just the natural maturity, like, as you get older, certain things that you wanted before, you don't want no more, So I can't say I had that. Because I don't think I got enough money at one time to go just crazy. You buy some little things, but maybe shopping a little bit too much, but nothing crazy. I kind of, I try to do the best I could, And now to me, I just got a better vision. What I see now is like now I could see 5 years in ahead, 10 years ahead. Before we didn't look far ahead. So when I talk to my students, I talk to them about what's your outlook? What do you want? So then you can work toward it. I think a lot of times we live day by day.
Exactly.
Month by month. We don't look at the future. I asked a kid the other day and I was like, yo, in 10 years, can you imagine your life in 10 years? And they was like, no. They had no clue. Like, So, you want to graduate from college or whatever, but that's just because you're supposed to. They didn't have a clue of what they want. So we got to help other generations, not even other generations. We got to help our friends see what they want. And once they see what they want, then they can work to obtain those things.
I love it. Now, speaking of that, so going back to the money piece is, what's your mindset? Like, do you have financial goals that you go after every year? Like, how do you, what's your target first? And not specifically, but like when you think of a business venture or even like where your business is at today, like I want to profit this much this year or next month. Do you plan like that?
No, not. I plan a little differently. Me and my wife talk about some investment things, whether it's real estate. She's more into real estate than I am. I'm not, I've been thinking about it, but it's just not my vibe, you know what I mean? So a lot of my planning is structured around events because that's what I really enjoy doing. And I feel like, I'm getting better and, really doing different things with those and kind of keep those things growing. So my financial stuff, right now I'm preparing for retirement.
Yeah.
Obviously I can retire. I think I got like 11 years or whatever. So to me, I'm working toward that. And then I can kind of figure out what's the next after that because that's my goal to when I retire, I'm good.
You good for
you know what I mean? And now I can do what I want to do. I can invest where I want to invest and, and have fun and enjoy life or whatever. So that's kind of how I do. I don't look at it kind of month from month. I do look at it from year to year a little bit just to make sure I'm on par. But I'm really a long-term person. Like I literally look at the big picture and try to get to that point. And that's where I'm working at now.
That's dope. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial. I think we're looking at the young entrepreneurs. And so, what this next commercial is about, we highlight every month a young entrepreneur in Western New York, whether they're just starting their company up or actually they're ideal, and or whether they've been functioning for a couple of years. But we want to provide a highlight and promote those young entrepreneurs. So we're going to take a quick break.
Hey, what's up, Western New York? Did you know that Empower716 Talk Show is looking to promote and recognize young entrepreneurs in Western New York? You could recommend yourself or someone else to be acknowledged on a future episode. Nominees need to be age 21 or under, has a service or product that offers value, has taken steps to become an entrepreneur, and must be willing to come on the show and talk about their service or product if selected. Email us at empower716@gmail.com.
They've been having a bad week, man. Stock got trash.
Want to stay up to date with Empower 716? Don't forget to share. Click here in the right-hand corner of the video and follow button below so you can see the upcoming episodes live on your news feed. Find Empower 716 on LinkedIn Live, YouTube, Facebook, and other audio platforms.
All right, welcome back to Empower 716. I'm your host, Rob Lowry, a life and leadership coach. We are here with a business owner, Dennis Wilson Jr., and we've been talking about his journey to entrepreneurship and talking about money, how to make sure we stay profitable. And now the next segment we're going to get into is how to grow your business. And so everybody, when they get into business, wants to expand, their business. Obviously, everybody wants to make more money. Do you have any suggestions for even whether it's a soft skill or something that along your way of like is basically helping you grow into where you are?
The biggest thing is consistency.
Yeah.
What I find out is, people aren't consistent. You get a wave where, you're so gung-ho about something, and then you get that wall, and then you get that doubt, and then you stop. You got to be consistent. Whatever you do is consistent. You go to that restaurant with your favorite dish. Every time you go, that dish tastes the same. It's consistent. Whatever you do, you have to be consistent. Business is up and down, and after you get a couple years in or whatever, you will start to know when the downs and ups and coming and so on and so forth. If you're in retail, Black Friday coming, that Christmas time, you got to be ready. And right after Christmas is over, it's January, February goes back down, so you got to get prepared. So you got to know the dips of your business, but you need the experience. But part of that is just being consistent in what you do.
Okay. Now tell me a little bit about like customer growth, because I think I'm not an event planner, but I see like when I was watching some of your stuff, like the strategies, like this is how my mind work is like, okay, so if I get these people to go to my event, they got to get tickets, I got to get their information, and now I'm strategic to that's basically, I forgot the word I'm looking for, but that's your base. And I then can now communicate to those individuals and say, hey, you came to this event, here's my next event. So how did you grow your customer base, and what systems did you use to get there?
It's funny because I did it organically. Like I didn't really have a set system. When I started, I had a way of doing things and it worked. But the one thing that for me, obviously events, what drive events is pictures.
Yes.
So, everything about my event is imagery. From when I did billboards, digital billboards. So if I did a digital billboard, instead of having one billboard up, I had 60. What I mean? And it just changed the picture and putting different people and focus on different people. Another thing I wanted to focus on was small business owners. Instead of, a lot of times advertising with just models, I wanted small business to regular people. I'm a regular people type person.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I like, Buffalo, because I'm not a celebrity type person. I just like regular, ordinary people who work hard and go to work. But I want to spotlight those things. Yeah. And then I want to push those things. So small business is the backbone of our community. And so,
Absolutely.
as you push those things. And, if you push small business, then their audience becomes your audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how the friendships and the connections kind of go. You know what I mean? So
Now, do you think like your ingredients? So again, I learned a lot about Dennis Wilson Jr. over this weekend, and as I was going through your Facebook, I was professionally trolling, right? And I was watching your lives that you were doing, and they were mostly on other people. You were out at different businesses, you and your wife, and shout out to your wife Rhonda, who is a recent recipient of the Buffalo Black Achievers. And so I saw down your live, you at different events promoting other people, and I know you do some graphic work for those individuals, but you can learn a lot by just going through somebody's Facebook feed, and whether like, oh, let me stay away from this person, or like this person is supporting other people, this person is lifting other people. He wants to lift those and encouraging them. And so, do you think that plays a huge, I would say, has an impact on your growth as a business person?
Absolutely. One thing people would know, regardless of what happened, people know I care.
Yeah.
When I do an event, and my wife be like, "Why you answer the phone?" Like, because, like, you know, like people can go to anywhere they want. They don't have to come to my event. So, you know, I try to, you know, answer every call. I try to answer every message. I try to handle every situation. You know, obviously you get some people upset or whatever, but what people can't say is that I didn't try to address the situation, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I try to be fair. I try to be honest.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say I try to be. I'm honest.
Yeah.
You know, I don't try to take people money. I don't try to give you something that you didn't. You know what I mean? I just try to be real ethical with whatever, everything I do. So I try to operate with the highest integrity as possible. And then too, I'm always trying to grow. You know, if you go to the events, if you went to the event, so the Black Party is coming up in about a month. You go to this Black Party, if you went to the Black Party, one of the first ones at 550, you'll see the big difference. You can see the growth. And a lot of times the people who've been coming all those years, they see the growth. People will hear about them. You hear you see the growth. You see the growth in the people that's attending. You know, now we get people from Rochester, Toronto, Charlotte. It's people who fly in for these events in particular. You know what I mean? This is the time they choose to come and visit home because it's, you know, it's something to do, you know, or, you know, and then they bring people. We had a group. We had a group of guys from Chicago. They was here for a football game. The Bills played the Bears a couple years ago. That weekend, a friend of mine's, one of the boys who my cousin grew up with, he was cool with them because he lived in Chicago. Man, they came to the event because they ain't know nothing about the event. They came in, they had a ball. You know what I mean? So, to me, I created something that you can kind of say, it used to be like, man, we don't have those events, but now we do. Yeah. So my events can compare to anybody in New York, Chicago, LA. You know what I mean? It compares. It's comparative.
It is really, I mean, I love, obviously, is the upscale piece of it. And as I was going through just the histories of your events, and I just go back and to remember hearing so much, especially when it was at was it Timberland?
Templeton, yeah.
Templeton. And just hearing people, okay, I got to go to the white party, I got to go to the black party, the black affair party, and then just watching the progression of it. And do you think, as far as growth, like what advice specifically would you give to people who, you know, I know you talked about consistency. Do you think, as far as you talked about consistency, integrity, do you think there's any other things that fall into that?
Research, obviously, like I didn't say obviously, but research. Yeah. You know, watch what other people do. So a lot of ideas. I go to Toronto. I look at what they do. Obviously, like you, I'm a professional Instagram stalker too. I go and watch people's stuff from Houston, Atlanta, and then I will go to some of the events too if I can. You know, I talk to some of the promoters if I can. Or talk to different people and just watch what they do. It's some stuff you can't do here, you know what I mean? Like we went to brunch in D.C. We did a trip to D.C. and we went to brunch and it was crazy. It was like, wow. Man, so me and Kurt like, yeah, we got to do this when we get home. So we tried it, but we don't have the population. So
Yeah.
certain stuff that you can't do, you got to change it up for home or whatever, which is fine.
Yeah.
But go to places, travel, like you said, travel, and you're going to
Yeah.
see different things. And then you come home and try to implement it, but you got to implement it in baby steps.
Yeah.
That's another big thing. Start small. A lot of times people have a dream,
Yeah.
which is cool. It's great to have a dream. Man, they want this elaborate thing, but they don't allow themselves to grow into it. They want the perfect, they want the Grammy event right off the muscle. And that's just not how it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Start small. You open a restaurant, start with a small menu. You can always add stuff to the menu.
Yeah.
It look bad when you take stuff away from the menu. You know what I mean? So whatever the business is, start small. Even if you had a resource, a lot of times when you have the resources, you waste the most money.
It's funny you said that because I'm learning. The great thing about being a business is over these last 3 years full time is you just kind of you learn as you grow. Obviously, you don't want to just base everything off of just you got to experience it. But I'm learning that the process of not knowing and then discovery is the best part. And you just like you just said, you have a lot of resources. Then you just kind of like throw stuff at it and like, what am I doing? I gotta retract this. Think about, start small. You don't have to have every system. You don't have to have everything together. Now, I want to transition to this last question in this segment. Was there something along your way of starting in your different businesses that you failed at, and you're like, okay, I can't do that again, and I've grown from it during that growth process, kind of like the growth thing?
Absolutely, certain things that I did a couple concerts, and they weren't large scale concerts, but they was concerts. But with concerts, man, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
A ton of them. And even my events, it's a ton of moving parts, but I can organize them better. With concerts, I just didn't enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I learned to scale back and try to do the things that I enjoy in that realm. Also, you got to kind of be realistic. Some stuff just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Like you sometimes, people ask me their opinion, my opinion. And when I give them the opinion, they mad. And then a lot of times they go do it and it fails because they didn't you can't lead with your heart when you're talking about business. Business don't have no heart.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean? Business is man, it's cutthroat. You know what I mean? And you can't just rely on friends and family because they'll support you, but at the same time, that's not their dream.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get mad at our friends and family for not supporting us, our dream. But that's your dream, not
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So if you're going to make it big, it's not going to be because your friends or family support you. It's going to be because the masses come and support whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? So
Well, I'm going to touch upon that part because I hear that a lot. Nobody, the expectation of other people needing to support you, and this feeling as though like, I need, if you didn't support me or if you're not buying my product and you're not doing this and you wasn't there, then the heck with you. How do you keep that balance? Like, especially with like family and friends, hey, you didn't come to my event or you didn't, share this or you didn't do this. Like, how do you balance
I just
that?
try to not to have those expectations because I don't want them expectations on me.
Yeah.
Like you don't know who watching you. You don't. Like, you didn't know I bought your book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't even read. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I wanted to support, you know what I mean? Like, my boy Mark Abraham, he doing his thing. So
Yeah.
I bought his book. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's not, you don't know who's going to support you. So you got to put the work in and you got to give something that's supportable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, your friends and family can't keep your business up.
Yeah.
You need people, you need masses, and part of that is starting small and growing. Your friends and family is your mouthpiece. Because if you're doing good, that's my cousin, that's my sister. They gonna talk about it. You know what I mean? It's some people who never been to my event and talk about my event all the time. So why would I be critical of that person?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not their thing. Fine, perfect. You know what I mean? But they can tell everybody else to go.
Tell everybody else.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's just like, me, I try not to, especially, when you start getting owning multiple businesses. It might be somebody who we had an issue with, but then they're in the Oak Room eating. Why am I going to go bother this person?
Yeah.
They supported me. Like, you know what I mean? And, you got to humble yourself, and so I just try to make sure I'm around kids a lot, so you see stuff they do, and I can't duplicate the same thing I'm telling them not to do.
Yeah.
So it's a good reality check for me being around kids and being around people all the time, and just understanding, man, just being appreciative of opportunities, the wins, the losses. I had some events before that people ain't come to, you know what I mean, and that happens, you know what I mean. You take it on the chin, and you kind of keep going. So I can't get mad at everybody because they ain't go to that event. It wasn't good, and they didn't want to go.
Let it go. So I love it. So if you are watching on LinkedIn, if you have questions for Dennis, put them in the comments. We definitely want to get your feedback. I want to talk about. I pulled one of your Facebook stats, and I hope you don't mind putting you on the spot, since it's in the public. So that's why I can put this out here. So. On August 24th, you had a stat, and this stat actually resonated with me because I definitely can relate. So your stat said, I find it funny that I have to be consistently prove myself when I meet those outside our community. My record should speak for itself, but they can't get past my color. Mm-hmm. So tell me what your thought behind that.
So obviously, I think if you go to most people in our community, they would say I'm the premier event or upscale event promoter. Yeah, no, hands down, no problem.
Go.
You know what I mean? So, but sometimes even in my own city, when I go to different establishments to create an event or talk about booking something, it's still a hassle. It's still like you got to prove yourself, and then they try to over and triple charge you like sometimes, and it's just like, why am I going through this? It was funny. I remember when I did the Bills Charlotte game. We went to Charlotte and I had a couple parties or whatever. I was able to book the parties in Charlotte, no problem. When I was coming back, I was trying to book the black party that round because it was in that November. Same hotel system. I was having a problem with the Marriott here, and Charlotte, no problem. That Charlotte don't even know me. Marriott, I lived like 5 minutes from, and they was giving me all hell. And even after I proved the event, they still gave me hell. And it got
so
ugly.
It's like all these layers of probably questioning what type of event it is, actually a little bit more details about your event.
Sometimes it's that, but sometimes it's just your color, point blank. Wow. I did an event not too long ago. I don't want to talk about the event because people won't know, but the owner wound up apologizing. He was like, I just, I see TV and it just got to me. I don't understand why. Yeah. He's like, I'm not that type of person. And he was almost in tears. And I'm just like, I basically gave you everything you needed. And I gave you tips and skills to help you run your business outside of my event that I'm not charging you for. I just want you to do well. Like, I don't care who it is. Yeah. And you still treating me like this. Like, why? Like, why am I going through that? I just did the event in Miami. I ain't have no issues booking anything in Miami. Why do I gotta have problems here? You know what I mean? We was working on something for a couple months from now, and dead end after dead end. And I'm just like, why am I going through this here? Yeah, I shouldn't. Especially when like I have trackable results.
Absolutely.
Not only do I bring a lot of money into these places, but I bring a good quality. I bring sponsorship. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm just bringing some bad business. You know what I mean? And you can count on your hand in the last 10 years how many times I had an incident at my event. It doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It's just, and that's something that we really pay close attention to detail, and we do a lot of planning to try to make sure we don't have any issues and everybody feel comfortable and everybody feel good.
So do you think, I'm going to rephrase my question. How do you navigate through that as a businessman of color, and you have a track record doing good business, and I guess how do you stay in the right mindset to kind of like, I just got to keep moving?
I guess because we don't really have a lot of those options sometimes. You know what I mean? I know for a fact a couple times I overpaid. Until you prove yourself. So it was almost like a prove it situation. Good friend of mine, Christo Prince, I'm going to shout him out. Christo Prince. So when I put that stat up, I remember now. A lot of people like, man, keep doing what you're doing. Blah, blah, you know what I mean? Which is good. You want the encouragement. Yeah. He was the only one who called me with a course of action. he called me. He was like, "Listen, man, that bothered me. Chris,
Yeah.
Italian guy, cool as hell.
Yep.
It's my guy." He's like, "Yo, you know what you need to do?" Because I had this issue before. Because it was vice versa for him. He was Italian going into an African American market, so he had the same issues. And so he gave me a course of action, which is something to try, something that would really help alleviate that. And he helped me work on the actual plan and everything. So a lot of times, it's, I put it out there and somebody helped me come out with a solution. And so, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, I love it, man. I really, I have, like I said, I've gained. You made the example of like sometimes you just don't know, and then part of your magazine was sharing and highlighting other people's story, and you kind of like gain more respect from those individuals that you see, and the process, which is what I believe is why the importance of this show is learning more about what you do and what you've already doing, what you continue to do in the city of Buffalo. Like I've gained so much, like seeing what you do is like from a distance and say, oh yeah, he does event parties and he does this. Oh great. He does the Oak Room. But to really like sit down and say, wow, this is what really, this is a movement that we need in Buffalo. And I think you are just making tremendous moves in Buffalo as far as just, I love your accessibility, and I don't know how well you balance that, but you kind of say like the everyday people, because I think the blend of the people that you have around you and the people that you support and uplift, that, and the part that I want to talk about, this is like a statement and a question, because I find Buffalo could be sometimes very cliquish, in that I mess with these group of people, and those other people that I don't really know of, I don't talk to them. And as I kept going through your magazines, I kept saying, okay, yep, this person, connecting. And it wasn't, I didn't feel that way. Like you just had these certain group of people and you all knew them, and that's the only people I rock with. And I think that is truly, I think, an achievement that you've made in that part of just bringing African American people together, having a good vibe, upscale environment to go to that they can feel safe. And I think I read in one of your, or you've seen in one of your videos, you talking about it's most people look forward going to your events. It's the only time that they can get dressed up sometimes and go out and have a good time without feeling like you got to watch it back all the time. And I think just that experience when I was watching people in the video, how they're coming back or actually going to Miami and getting ready and they're showing their pictures and just the excitement, you created that experience. And I think, like I said, through your history of having these events over the years, it's just not a party. It's really that experience is a life changer thing. And I totally respect at a whole different level what you do, because I just, and I don't know how you do it all. So my question, I guess, would be is how do you balance, your self-care and all that other stuff?
So when I talked about scaling back at certain other things, like I used to coach basketball for a long time, and I was coaching basketball, I was teaching, I was running running the restaurant. I'm like, I was single at the time, which you can't be in a relationship too, but at the same time, like I was tearing my body up. Yeah. So I had to give up something. So I had to give up coaching, even though I love basketball, but I gave up coaching because I needed more time. And then once I got married, we really had date nights, and I had to devote time to our relationship, and that was winding up being my therapy too. So I created those times and those gaps. So a lot of the stuff blend together, as far as the graphics, the magazine, even the Oak Room. The Oak Room was my meeting place. So when I meet people, okay, I got to have a meeting or somebody. Okay, I'm going to meet during the time that I'm supposed to be at the Oak Room. So everything kind of had its place. And so that's how I kind of able to space things out. People be like, man, when do you sleep? And I'm like, I sleep all the time. Like I'm a napper. Like, I take a lot of naps. But I figured out a formula for myself to navigate it. Yeah. Also, like me and my wife used to take trips a lot. Sometimes it might be a day trip, or just go to Toronto for the day, go shopping, go out with some friends, come back the next day. One or two, some of those things just to get you get a break. You know what I mean? So, and then the pandemic wound up being a blessing because it was a natural break where really I got a reboot. Of everything. So, because for 10 years, every weekend we was working, You know what I mean? If we weren't working, the only time I was able to get off is when, either I was sick or we was traveling. And Kurt too, because it was either one of us or, even the staff. And it just gave us a chance to really reboot and, you could see what you can live without during that period of time. You know what I mean? So, and then, able to look at your businesses and, okay, readjust. You know what I mean? I was able to start a clothing line. I was able to, I was itching to get back to the event. So now I'm sitting there going through people's Instagrams and pictures, and I'm going through different places and thinking about buying different things or just seeing what other people do. And so I was able to start incorporating those things. And, if the pandemic happened, we wouldn't have did Miami.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy how tragedy or I would say a pandemic such as this, like obviously there's a lot of tragic, deaths and so forth, and that all of many people experience. But through the pain and the hiccups, most people who were all in the grut, they were like working, because even myself, you're just kind of like constantly working. And then there's this pause to actually reflect, like you said, reboot and have a big strategy. Now, speaking of your clothing line, I gotta tell you this funny story. So I ordered your shirt.
That was the sweatsuit.
The sweatsuit, and I ended up getting it a small. So I was like, I don't know how the heck did I mess up with this. And so then I bought another one, and then I can't find it. Somebody took it in the house. But I do want to commend you on the collection. Now, is it D. Wilson or Dennis Wilson?
It's the collection by Dennis Wilson. And I'm actually like today. I was sitting there playing with some stuff, so getting ready for the kind of the winter line and stuff like that. So it's been pretty good. That was a journey. That was trying something. Yeah, you know what I mean. And,
the quality. That's why I said I'm missing my shirt. So I think I got the black T-shirt. Yeah, the black T-shirt, and the quality was great. And so I definitely got to give this to one of my family members. But when I was looking at your website, I thought I was doing something. I seen the quality of the photos, and I commend you on when obviously I can't compete with a graphic designer, but just the look, man, the professionals. Like when I went to your website, I was like, "Woo!" Is that strategic? Like the quality that you put out?
Yeah, I like pictures. Yeah. So, and that was one of the things that attracted me to your campaign, because everything I've seen, it was like quality of the pictures. Yeah, a lot of people just don't understand, man. Just I tell, go do a photo shoot. That photo shoot allows you, especially you do a couple different outfits, that $150, $250 you would spend gonna last you 5 years. Of pictures. You know what I mean? So I just like imagery. I just been attracted to pictures. And when we used to go to my mom got tons of photo albums. But when you go to somebody's house, what's the first thing you look at in the living room? The pictures. Whatever's pictures hanging up, you looking to see if you know somebody or whatever it may be. You should have seen the stats on my websites when that Monday come after the event and the pictures is up. Go crazy, you know what I mean? I remember one time I had, back in the bandwidth days, I had to go buy more bandwidth, you know what I mean? And then a lot of companies blocked me because their employees was all looking at the pictures, so they would block my website so the employees can work.
Like one thing I want to ask you about the pictures. So when I was going through the party pictures, I actually expected that I would have to pay to download the thing, because I was like, I wonder. So when I clicked the pictures, and I was like, oh, it has a little download button, because I was like, and again, I was thinking like, in the business sense, I was like, okay, this is a good strategy. You put people pictures on there, because I'm gonna find myself. So if I was at your event, I'm gonna click the picture and find where I was and see where we took it at. So, I know a lot of event people do that, but then I was like, oh, I can actually download my picture for free and everything else. So is there any works in that? Like, would you feel like charging people? Or I
wouldn't charge them for that. Like when you come to the event, like, we had a photographer with the backdrop and they charge and you pay for that, and that's their thing, you know what I mean? But to me, like, those pictures, it lasts for years. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I'm not going to charge because, like that's, I hate to say it, but I ain't going to say it's free advertisement. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's crazy when you go back and look at somebody's profile picture and it's your event. You know what I mean? And it happens a lot. Even in a tragedy standpoint, a lot of times I remember a gentleman who was at my event, and I don't know him personally, but he had passed. And, you look at the news, it was all pictures from the event because he was just there. And he was like, wow, like I didn't know he was there. Wow. You know what I mean? Then I go back sometime and look at some events. I might be looking for something from 5-10 years ago, and I'll see somebody that I didn't know then that I know now. Wow. And I'm like, wow, you've been coming in. Like, I remember one lady, like, she'd been coming to the events from day one. I didn't know. You know what I mean? And somehow we became friends, like, maybe 9-10 years later with some other type of interaction or whatever, some type of business or whatever, and I didn't know that this person was coming all this time. You know what I mean? So that's why you got to treat people nice. That's why you got to be cordial, because you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm getting 2,000-3,000 people come to an event. Even an event at 500, you don't see all the people. In Miami, it was people there I didn't see till I seen the pictures.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so, you just never know. You know what I mean?
So I guess I do got to give you the title of the GOAT of Buffalo, because, like I said, I just all the connections that you have, and anybody who I mentioned, Dennis Wilson Jr. is like, yeah, I know Dennis, and they've been connected to you some way or shape or form, have come in contact with you. So what's next? What's next for Dennis?
So right now, preparing for the presidential event, all black event.
Tell me a little more about that event.
So it's my birthday party too. So it's
Awesome.
annual. It's the 11th annual. Which obviously, in 11 years doing something consistently, back to what I'm saying, being consistent. It's black tie, like, it's no jeans, it's no sneakers. It's time to really dress up. Dress code is pretty much all black. I mean, you can accessorize how you want to. The one remarkable thing about my events is the age. It's literally 21 through 70.
Wow.
There's nowhere, and probably with the exception of, like family reunions and stuff like that, there's no parties that you can go to with those age gaps. And it's places for all those ages. So it's not like you going in a room and you dancing with 70-year-olds. They might be in a live music room. Wow. We got a turn-up room. The turn-up room is turn up. So if you're going in there, I don't care how it's turned up.
Turned up.
You know what I mean? And then we got a reggae room, so a reggae, calypso, obviously us having a lot of New York City people that came here and live here from years, and college students, you know what I mean? We got a good reggae presence here, and so Toronto and Rochester got a big reggae following, Lockport. So, we created that room, and so now whatever genre you into, you go. And then we got the lobby lounge area where you can chill. We got vendors, you got photographers, and it's all types of stuff. So, like, I know you said you're not a going out person, but when people come, you don't have to go out. Like, you there, and it's something for you.
Out, yeah.
And then it turns into that networking thing. But a lot of times it's networking without networking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just a casual networking, just coming in contact.
People just need to see you sometimes, oh, damn, that's the guy from the billboard. You know what I mean? Like, they need to see you. Yeah. Sometimes they want your services and you don't even know it, but they don't know how to contact you, know what I mean? And so they run into you, or it's people you ain't seen in a long time. You know, people come home and, when they come home, they want to see people they ain't seen.
Wow. So you also, I think either one of your videos or your stats, you mentioned you're doing something for New Year's. Is that still going on?
We were trying to, man. That was one of the things I was talking about we had some issues with. So, and I'm at a point now, too, where if it ain't right, I ain't doing it. So, right now we got we about to reopen the Oak Room. We got the Black Party. And then I'm working on the fall, the winter line for the clothing line. So, I'll probably have that stuff really going to launch it off Black Friday.
Nice.
So.
Now tell me, actually two more questions, because I was just curious to know. So, with your panoramic magazine, how did you go about, like, far as distribution and
distribution, I think it's through the Buffalo News.
Okay.
They because it's free.
Okay.
So what I did is put it in local area Wegmans and Tops.
Nice.
I felt that I'm a Wegmans person.
Yeah.
But I think it's Wegmans. It might just be Wegmans. I don't even think I did. I think I did Tops one time, but I think mostly Wegmans, the area Wegmans. Later on, we'll probably get them in more stores. But I just did the Buffalo area ones, Buffalo, Cheektowaga, Amherst area ones.
Nice.
And like I said, I'm still bankrolling it. Like, it's not like it's a profitable thing. So I want to start small and then I can grow into it. So.
I love the progression. And the reason why I ask that is because I think just obviously promoting it and pushing what you're doing. And then the other question, when I was going through the Oak Room, and I think I went to the Oak Room once for happy hour, which is crazy. I think Kia Kemp and Pell, yeah. So I think we were doing something for the After School Network, and I remember a few years ago. But so tell me, so when I was looking through your flyers of the Oak Room, and you highlighted different professionals, and they had this happy hour. Now, was that a strategic way to get people to come out?
Yes and no. Yes, obviously. Anytime you're doing a restaurant, you got to have that type of strategy. Yeah. But also, it's too that community base. Like the Oak Room to me was, and people miss it because it's the heart. You know what I mean? And part of the heart was we try to say we were I forgot what the word we used, but we was kind of like the melting pot for everything, for all the urban professionals. That was the spot.
Yep.
Everybody would go to, and you go off from there, but you can get everywhere. You might walk in there and see a lawyer, you might see an firefighter, police officer, drug dealer, like what I mean. Like everybody was in there. It is what it is.
Yep.
You know what I mean. But everybody was comfortable. And so that was what it was about. We wanted to create an atmosphere, and that's what something when we first started. We tried to create an atmosphere where people could feel comfortable. Whether you're in your suit, whether you're in your track suit, and I think we accomplished that.
You definitely did.
Now as we open, we're going to change some things up. The dynamics just because society's changed.
Yeah.
With the pandemic, things change. These streets is crazy. So it's. Me, I just don't have a lot of patience for it no more, like being out as late as I used to be. So we're making some adjustments, and we're gonna put more emphasis on the breakfast.
Nice.
So just to kind of give everybody the secret before we get out there. But I really enjoy the breakfast. Like I can't sit here and lie to you. Like what I mean. Like now I'm a get up in the morning person, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Me and the wife, she go to the gym. I go to breakfast, then I go to the gym. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, just lifestyle change. So we want to make sure we kind of address that and kind of go from there.
I love it. Now, I know I said that was the last question, but so if you had a chance to sit with anybody, whether they're famous, unfamous, to chop it up with them, who would that be?
Probably, I'm going to say Jay-Z. Like, Jay-Z, I'm a Jay-Z fan.
Me too.
So it's just, if I want Jay-Z, LeBron, like everybody know me, and that's what you've seen them lives. But I was talking about LeBron. LeBron, my guy. Jay-Z's my guy. So probably one of those two.
Jay-Z,
those are only the celebrities. You know what I mean? But it's a ton of regular people that I want to chop it up to, and that's why I just reach out to them. You know what I mean, and try to kind of initiate those conversations.
Okay. Now, who's in Dennis' playlist? Who's your top 3 music wise?
I gotta go with the local guys, man. Like Benny Conway and West Side,
right.
man. Like, I just love what they doing. Like, I just love. To me, like they made like that dream. Like, they just made it like yo, we can make it. Like, you know what I mean. And for me, it inspires me to get. I was seeing them doing things. I was seeing Deuce King doing the movies. Him and A.K. Reed.
Shout out to Deuce. He's doing his thing.
And and other people, Jamil doing his thing.
Yep.
Jay Moore. I see a lot of my friends in real estate doing their thing. And my boy Shamari just opened a school in D.C. Him and his family. Him and Natasha and their family. Like when you see around those people, it make you grind. Yeah. So it make me want to make my events bigger because that's my fame. You know what I mean? That's my. Where I could stand out, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to try to I'm not rapping,
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm not, I want to stay in my lane, but I want to be able to support everybody. So they're my thing. And obviously always Jay-Z and Scarface. That's my.
Are you a Jadakiss fan?
I am, but not like, like that. But I'm more of a Jay-Z, Scarface, and then the local guys, man. I honestly love what they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? And I've been knowing them for a while. Benny and Conway, mostly, I've been knowing them for at least 10, 15 years. And so I watch their growth, you know what I mean? And, we're not personal friends, you know what I mean? I'm cool, like they know me, But just watching them, man, to me, like that's it makes me feel good every time I see them go up different levels.
I love the part that you just said, too, that resonated with me is like the mindset of anybody who's a business owner, I would say, a good a person with a positive mindset or just looking at life in a growth way is to be okay with seeing other people grow. Like I think I shared that with you is because when I was watching what you do, it wasn't like, oh, I can do it better or why does he get to do this? And it was more like I was inspired by just watching looking at your website. I was like, this is dope. and so like I think what you said about Benny and Conway and so forth, when you see people and so many people from the Jamels, from even like April, and it's so many people those names that you hear and people that you see and talk to, and as you see them grow and their business grow, it only encourages you to like, okay, we
and to their greatness. Like,
yeah.
A lot of people just take they don't understand people's greatness. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like we all have some type of greatness, some type of something that we're great in. Everybody, I
Absolutely.
feel like
Yep.
in my mind, you got to
Absolutely.
figure it out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? My greatness is bringing people together. That's my greatness. You know what I mean? And, you know, and creating visual, the imagery. That's my greatness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I understand it. I love it. I appreciate it. I watch those guys. They're great. I can't be them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I know some people like, man, no, they can't. Like, they great. You know what I mean? You watch my boy Q in real estate, man. He killing it, you know. But he found that, you know what I mean? One time, last thing, my wife was talking because my wife's in real estate, and so something happened at her property, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, we just go buy the whole thing, fix it. She's like, no, I'm just going to repair this and whatever. Her mindset was different for that, and she's great in that. You know what I mean? That's not my mindset. You know what I mean? And I'm learning it through her, but at the same time, like, you know, I got to appreciate her greatness in that. You know what I mean? And you got to let that lead at times. So, you know, just letting people be great, understand their greatness, appreciating their greatness, and supporting and being happy for them.
So last thing I want to leave with is like what you know, if you were to you're sitting in front of yourself 3 years ago, what would you tell yourself?
3 years ago, every 2 weeks buy one share Apple. Every 2 weeks, that's what I basically tell myself. Like, you know, and every 2 weeks buy. I just recently started buying Bitcoin, so every 2 weeks buy just one share. One share. Whether it's Apple, something. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I ain't gonna say something. I'm gonna say Apple just because that's one of the great companies. And anytime I give advice, I tell people to buy Apple. The rest of the stuff you can do your own research on. I don't want to tell you that, but Apple's usually a great company to invest in. So I would tell myself consistently. Every 2 weeks when you get paid, or, you know, you get your bigger checks or whatever, bigger, you know, things from the events, buy more.
Wow. Man, this time went by really quick. I mean, I appreciate all the things that you're doing for the city, man. And just, you are a very humble, ambitious, determined man and family man, father. And I appreciate all of the things that you're doing for our community. Just, you know, I don't need to tell you to keep up because you're already doing it, man. But if you're watching this, I want to make sure you add comments to our conversations and let me know what you think of the conversation around entrepreneurship and owning your business and doing a clothing line. But we're going to end this live with a few commercials. I think we got one talking about how you can be a guest on the Empower716. And then also just highlighting some of the things of how you can make sure you stay connected. Because pretty much what I'm trying to do is build a community of like-minded people who are trying to grow their business and their lives together. So thanks, Dennis, for joining me on my first episode. Hopefully, I won't say hopefully, this will continue, and I appreciate your accessibility. I appreciate you just taking the time out your busy schedule to come on and highlight some of the great things you're doing. Appreciate you.
Definitely appreciate it, man. Let it set up, man.
Thank you. I'm growing. Thanks a lot. So thanks everybody for joining us, and I'll see you next week.
Want to stay up to date with Empower 716? Don't forget to share. Click here in the right-hand corner of the video and follow button below so you can see the upcoming episodes live on your news feed. Find Empower 716 on LinkedIn Live, YouTube, Facebook, and other audio platforms.
Trying to stay at it, man.
Want to be a guest on our show? We're always looking for entrepreneurs, business owners, side hustlers, and career shifters that are willing to share their life and business experiences, strategies, lessons learned, and pitfalls to avoid with our listeners. If you would like to be considered as a guest on an
like I said before, you know, like obviously Friday and Saturday, I haven't felt it in a while. I'm like, I've been home for a year, and I wasn't in school either. You know what I mean? I'm